January to be this afternoon. Thank you to be with us. So we can talk about a very exciting topic of the challenges and opportunities in crypto exchanges. By the way, Mr. Andrew Ward with his Canadian jersey. There's a lot of MCs you find in the industry, but this guy is absolutely incredible. Just fun fact about him, is a proud Canadian. He has 2 daughters, and his daughters are named Victoria and Charlotte, the 2 most extreme west and east cities in Canada. That's a patriot, my friends. Thank you very much, Andrew. Guys, thank you very much for being here with us, all of us. We're going to have a lot of the time today talking about a lot of the big questions are coming in when it comes to crypto exchanges. I cannot promise you we're going to be able to cover it in the short minutes we have, but I promise you it's going to be interesting, exciting, and most importantly, insightful. And listen to this, we're a dream team panel that we have today with Gracie, Alicia, of course Ben, and of course Lennox as well, joining us from OKX. I'm going to jump right in, right? A big topic of conversation we have in the ecosystem right now is a topic of counterparty risk. After FTX, many of the exchanges have come up with proof of reserves, providing transparency. And the first question I want to ask to the 4 of you, and I want to give everybody a chance to answer, what is your view of what is best practice when it comes to an exchange providing transparency? And what is your organization doing to provide comfort to the market on this perspective? Maybe Lennox, I'll start for you, and we come down to the basics here.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
And by the way, fun fact about Lennox, Mark, if you don't know, in his spare time, he builds a Gundam models robots. So here we go. Let's talk about talent there at OKX. The Lennox, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm kind of nerdy. Yeah, so counterparty risk is at least one of the major priority within the group is how to answer these questions. While we're operating in relatively unregulated environments. And the next question is, because as a financial institution, you can get a license to kind of like indirectly solve counterparty risk. And we also think about how to tackle this problem through pure technologies. We don't want to, well, so part of the solution is always hire external auditor, run a thorough analysis, occasional audits. But we want to execute through pure technologies, and we will build a scalable solution around that. So obviously, so we immediately prepare a dedicated team that build a proof of reserve product. Proof of reserve is a name. It's a name. The idea is using cryptographical accounting procedures for proving that within a certain time frame that you guys, the exchange, do have certain kind of token physically and audit and verify on-chain. But what we really did further is rather than we use more than blockchain technologies, but also zero-knowledge proof to prove not just on the software of the chains, but also the liability of the chain at the same time. So we execute that. We publish our proof of reserve on a monthly basis. That's solution number 1. The other part is obviously going the old school way, right? We're trying to attempt to get the license, following the licensing out related custody rules in global scale. That's at least 2 basic ingredients that become the bread and butter, and become the basic fundamental part.
We're definitely going to come back about the regulatory on crypto exchanges. Before that, I want to move it to Ben. What is your view of the transparency exchanges should provide? And before I let you the mic, by the way, one thing people may not know about Benju, of course, he's the co-founder of ByBit. In the weekend, he does a lot of wake surfing and foil. So if you don't find him at the office, you'll find him on the beach surfing the waves. Ben, what's your view of what the client should deserve on crypto? Here we go.
Yeah, so for custodies, I think quick simple words. Number 1 is proof of reserves. The exchange now all have monthly proof of reserves. You should check on that. I think after falling off FTX, there have been a variety of custody services available now. For example, we're connected to Copper. If you're looking for a tax solution, we're connected to also Fireblocks. If you're looking for centralized banking partner like Zodia, Standard Chartered Bank, so all of that is an option we offer for any institutions or pro traders to use to trade on ByBit. But I want to remind everyone, a lot of the custodies are smaller than the exchange. So how do you trust the custody? It's also another question, yeah?
We'll get to that. Yeah. Alicia, I want to move it to you. Alicia, by the way, again, people know her as a managing director of KuCoin. In her spare time, she's a massive into cooking. So if you want some tips on that, Alicia is your person. Alicia, what's your view on this?
Yeah, so after the whole FTX things, I have to talk a lot with our team and our clients, and includes some retail users and also institution clients. And I think it's all about trust, and the whole blockchain thing is designed to resolve the unresolved problems in the traditional finance industry. So I think in the end, we're going to put more and more our efforts, our time to discover if there's new technology that to make this happen, or it's just another.
Okay, we'll come back about trust. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Last one, I want to make sure with Gracie, I get a chance to answer this. Again, one thing about Gracie, she's the MD at the BitCat, but also she recently did a reality TV show on crypto called Killer Whales. Apparently will come out soon, so we look forward to seeing you there, Gracie. But your view on the transparency that actually exchanges the clients should have?
Very similar to other exchanges, so we do have reserve that Lennox mentioned. We also have the custodial service, and we pretty much choose the same ones, which are the bigger ones, Copper, Kobo, etc. And one thing we have, I'm not sure if all other exchanges have or not, I'm aware that many may not, is what we call a big gap protection fund. So this is a 300 million fund that we set aside, only denominated in ETC, USDT, and USDC. So it works more like an insurance fund that we have for our users if they have any counterparty risk. So I think that tackles your question very well, because as far as I'm aware of, this is the second largest protection fund among all the exchanges. The biggest one might be Binance SAFU, SAFU. They have like 1 billion protection fund. Ours is the second largest.
You mentioned Binance. I think we have to discuss that. I know it's ironic. We're in the OKX stage. But maybe I'll start with you, Lennox, on this one. Obviously, Binance now has anywhere from 60–75% of volumes, depending on how you look at it. If tomorrow something happens to Binance, what do you think the impact would be on the ecosystem?
Everyone doubles.
We're done. What was it, sorry?
I mean, everyone's volume doubles.
Everybody volume doubles.
No, I still think Binance is also a very important industry participant. So I think if the industry is sufficiently big for more players and sufficiently scalable to even more players, so I would think that Binance, if anything happens to Binance, they're definitely going to be helpful to the industry as a whole.
Especially post FTX. What do you think of this, man?
I mean, we pray to God nothing happens to Binance. Otherwise, who's going to be there to take all the heat? You guys have the stage. You want to be the number one? Go ahead. We're pretty happy being the second and the third.
Who's going to be there to take the heat? Good one, actually, on that side. But actually, you know, for our audience as well, you know, what is the post? We had obviously crazy year from Token 24 down last year. There's obviously, especially with the FTX collapse, right? What is the red flags? If you have to give, let's say, a piece of advice to the audience, right? Maybe I'll start with you on this. Like, what is the one red flag the audience should look out for to avoid the next FTX? Sorry. Let's say go for Gracie.
Yeah, for me, so I've been working with a company for 4 years, and so I trade cryptocurrency as well. So when I see if there's any like high return, that incredibly like high return, then please do your own research, okay?
Be careful of crazy advertising returns. That's obviously a good one, especially coming from somebody with a marketing background like yours. Makes a lot of sense. Alicia, what's your view on that?
That's Alicia.
Yeah. Sorry, Gracie, sorry, Gracie, what do you think on that?
I would say leverage. So the issue with FTX, in my opinion, is not FTX, it's actually mainly AKTYWNE research.
Yeah.
Because they commingled and then they had too much leverage that the investment firm has been doing. So when you see high leverage in a firm, not just in crypto, right? Whenever look at the Chinese real estate industry, all these companies, when they have a too high leverage, that's really a red flag to me.
Yeah. So the red flags, so high leverage, unexpected returns. Ben, what do you think?
Sorry?
What is the one red flag the audience should look out for?
Look, nobody expected FTX.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very hard to catch. So spread your eggs, guys. Just don't put on like exchange, spread them, you know. Maybe a little bit more on ByBit, you know. That's my advice.
My red flag would be, I think you need to take into look at the details. Enormous return, consistently enormous return, with package as risk-free. It's not be one big red flag. Whether or not they have proof of reserve, if no, red flag. Another thing is, at API level, whether or not there's self-trade prevention as a partner function, another red flag, if no, red flag. And whether or not the company would have a voluntary disclosure of their compliance program, staff cleaning policy, transparency program. If there's no, or they don't want to do it, red flag. Whether or not they have a plan to proceed any major regulatory license in global jurisdiction? If no, another red flag.
So I mean, what's your view? I mean, you mentioned regulatory licensing many times.
Yeah.
What is your view, Lennox, on this? Do you believe that regulatory licensing is actually genuinely going to help make the industry more secure? Because I mean, we can argue that FTX was licensed or registered with over 50 different regulators. Many of them were registrations, to be fair, not licenses. But do you think really it makes the industry more secure from having exchanges that are licensed, in your experience?
Many of the license previously is pretty light touch. But what we're currently seeing that also the regulatory license also evolve and develop, become much more comprehensive, and specifically to the exchange operations. So getting the license meaning that they're not just different or regulate the entry like KYC or AML. They actually regulate the in-depth operation of exchanges, the customer segregation with exchanges, also ring fence and risk management across the exchange operation. That's prevent a lot of problems that FTX alike.
And to be fair, I think a lot of the regulatory regimes right now are, and regulators as well, are way more sophisticated and more knowledgeable than they were, frankly, 2-3 years ago as well. What do you guys think of this? Like, you guys agree on the regulatory angle? Is crypto regulations making the centralized exchanges more secure?
I do agree, and I think compliance and regulation is a huge trend in our industry, especially for us to go mainstream. And if you are talking about the FTX case, look at the FTX.JP Japan and FTX.US, entities like that, because it's fully regulated, all those users are well covered. So to your point, I think yes, regulator and regulation, compliance is very important in our industry.
So on that point as well, guys, obviously a lot of you guys have applied for licenses around the world, you're expanding around the world, despite actually some of the market conditions we're going in. When you look for the year ahead, let's say the 2-3 years ahead, what markets or regions are you focused on where you believe is, from regulatory licensing to client demand, you believe is a big priority and a big demand? Let me start from Ben and we'll turn it around, and then I'll start from you. I'll give everybody a chance to answer this question.
Yeah, so before I answer the question, I want to explain a bit our view on regulators, right? Mostly you see two extremes. One is kind of looking at crypto as a scam, and they're there to protect the users or ordinary people from the scam. And the others you have on the other spectrum is more like seeing it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, regulators are competing with each other. They're trying to attract talent. So you see the likes of Hong Kong and UAE, being more aggressive and taking advantage and attract the sector, right? I think Singapore is also going to be proactive.
Yep.
So in that sense, as an innovator ourselves, we follow whoever is trying to lead and trying to, not seeing us as a scam basically. And this is why you see everyone pretty much exited Canada because the rules were simply so strict that they're trying to kill the industry. So for us, we're headquartered now in UAE. We think there's some good opportunities there. We're also participating in Hong Kong. So we're following whoever is trying to take lead and seeing it as an opportunity.
Alex, would you agree with Ben?
I think our choice of location, we think about licensing should be able to surface passport and service in a regional basis. So in APAC, we focus on the licensing in Hong Kong and Singapore. And also in UAE area, we focus on Dubai, Bahamas license as well, that extent on a global scale. But in reality, we actually have around 16 jurisdictions that's currently applying or have proceeds applying.
16 or 60?
Yeah, there's a lot. Okay. Yeah. So eventually, we're going to be regulated in many jurisdictions locally. But our priority is always focused on whether or not we pick a spot. Whether or not this particular license is have the capability to expand their regular standard in at least on a regional basis.
Amazing. Alicia, from a KuCoin perspective, what region you guys see growth and are focusing on?
Since we are working in a blockchain industry, so I think we are not gonna specific focus on any country or region. We are focus on some area in the industry, like there's a pretty hot, trendy project named Fintech. So we could focus on specific area like social media or sports or music, like Fintech. They could integrate maybe about 1 billion trading pair to share their liquidity.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. So for now, we don't have any specific country or region we focus on, but we do looking at some new cool stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. And Gracie, from your side?
So we do. In terms of regions, we are looking into specifically for growth and expansion right now. East Asia, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Europe. Especially Europe has MiCA and many regulation frameworks that is quite matured and comprehensive. And also, 2 days ago, I also launched something called Big Empower X Fund. So this is a specific fund investing in 3 things. Number 1 is regional exchanges. By the way, the fund is 100 million USD that will be set aside. We can definitely look at bigger ticket size if it makes sense. But regional exchanges, media outlets, and data analysis firms, because the latter two, in our opinion, it helps mass adoption and empowers the industry. That's why we call it Empower X Fund. So regional exchanges and all these collaborations among different geographies, we think that's indeed one of our strategic placements.
So, all of this is great, but what do you guys think will be the catalyst to get these new customers in? Even following the recent news that we've had on the GBTC news, on the Grayscale news, that there hasn't been that much retail intense bump in trading activity and others. Let's start with you, Ben. What do you think will be the catalyst for us to have more activity in the real bull market?
Yeah, I think a lot of people talk about layer 2s. A lot of people talk about real world assets and all these things. To be honest, this is not a question you should ask the exchange. We don't create the hype. We build a road to get to the hype. Our job is to build infrastructure. We are road builders, bridge builders. So in traditional world, when you want to go to places, when you drive there, you do think about the road. So eventually I think that's what the job of the exchange. You should be staying back, but to provide a seamless service. But the moment there's an issue, you step up and you fix your shit, right? But we help you to get to the place you want to go. So whether it's layer 2, layer 1, we don't really care. We just make sure we have the team. Whenever there's a hype, we build it. And faster, preferably than these guys. So, you know, that's how we try to do it. And cheaper.
So his approach is faster and cheaper than the competitors. What do you think of this, Lennox? I mean, what do you think will be the catalyst to get people? Is it just you build and you wait for the market to come? Because I would argue that in that case, like, why advertise? Why are we spending millions in Formula One and this and that if we're just building the infrastructure, right? But we'll come back to that. I mean, Lennox, what do you think of that?
Yeah. I think exchange is getting a bit more involved as a role to the industry. So previously we just a matching engine. Yeah. We match product, we match trade. Then we take it further, design financial product, derivatives product, matching engine, profit margin, this kind of stuff, exchange related product. That's why I'm thinking, what we're thinking is, we want to take it further, even one step further, to solve the last mile challenge for the general population to access Web3. We have the capability to deal with different kind of blockchain, different kind of on-chain solution, and we want to combine and aggregate together and solve the last mile challenge. We want to make registration or integration with Web3 similar as registered Gmail accounts. That's difficult. That's very difficult. So I think in our case we spend most of our time right now is thinking about how to cut it even further, to improve substantially on the user experience to access Web3. And you don't need to worry about what kind of chain that you already interact with. You don't need to worry about, I pay too much gas fees for integrating different kind of wallets and portal. And also, if regulation comes that's related to Web3, we have sufficient resources and KYC capability to control, hey, this address is already KYC or meeting certain standards as global compliance standard.
It's interesting you bring up the regulator each time. As a lawyer, I love that kind of stuff. But I just want to bring up I think from your point of view, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have a lot of marketing campaigns, even with football stars, with Messi, I forgot the name of Messi, right? I mean, do you agree with Ben is saying, okay, it's obviously, Alex is talking about the user experience, right? The UI, that is, okay, we need to be ready. You have a marketing background as well. Like, what do you guys think is the approach, is your positioning in such a market, and how do you guys try to attract customers?
Yeah, so right now, bull market, very clear, and in our opinion, the crypto winter, the bull market is actually the golden window for building. Yeah. So we want to fully position ourselves so that we can capture the growth at the bull market. I actually very much agree with Ben that we are building roads, but even as construction companies building roads, you will look at the weather, right? You want to look at the weather, look at the destination, and decide how you want to build that road. So back to your question about catalogs of the bull market, I myself look at maybe mainly two things. Number one is the Fed interest rate hike. When do they decide to decrease the interest rate? That's when, you know, the bigger pool, the swimming pool, bigger swimming pool, if we make this metaphor of the traditional finance market, the inflow of the money can go to the smaller pool, which is our industry or, you know, some other financial industries. So number one, the Fed's interest rate decrease. And then number two, the approval of BTC spot ETF. Yeah. I personally look at news around this a lot because if we are looking at Grayscale BTC, that's about 20 million of their assets under management. And if the BTC spot ETF is approved by SEC, then we're probably looking at 100 billion of inflow from all those bigger financial institutions like pension fund, etc. So this might drive the next round of bull market, but that's my personal opinion. No financial advice here, but I think that's some major events to look into.
I think everybody in the room is trying to be bullish with this whenever the spot Bitcoin ETF will be approved. But you mentioned the weather, right? So obviously you're looking at the weather conditions. there's obviously, even at this event, the number of, you mentioned layer 1s, layer 2s, but even DeFi protocols that are here, DeFi innovation going on. What do you think, that when you look at the crypto exchange of the future in 5 years, what do you think will be the interaction between centralized exchanges and the DeFi, let's call it the DeFi ecosystem? Maybe Alicia, I'll start with you on this one. The interaction between DeFi and centralized exchanges.
Yeah, I think, sorry to my PR team, but I think DeFi is cool because they've achieved different ways that to achieve some new solutions that we haven't tried and even got failed in the centralized exchange industry, like GMX. They got like pretty good liquidity solutions.
Yeah.
And I think for now, we always want to do something cool, right? Like DeFi, the whole decentralized layer 0, layer 2, layer 1. Like as I said, I think for now we can only build a road to help them to grow the whole industry, like be stronger, and we are taking responsibility that to educate people that are newly to get into the blockchain industry, and then there are always so many options, right? Maybe DeFi, maybe another centralized exchange. Yeah, I think
they're building the roads, right? So,
yeah.
So Ben, on your side, like how do you see DeFi as a competitor, or you're just another road for people on their journey to DeFi?
Oh, we love DeFi. So, but we get to the essence. What does DeFi offer, and why do you want to get to DeFi? Whether it's the money, it's the yield, it's the innovation, but our job is to make things simple. I mean, guys, Web3, DeFi. Let's talk about Ethereum staking. I tried myself, I couldn't figure it out with MetaMask. First of all, MetaMask will scare half the people. And then you get...
Sorry to the MetaMask people in the room.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, any wallet, right? This type of seed, it will scare people away. And then you take 6, 7 steps to get there. I mean, come on. But we are building a product for the uncles, the grannies, the people who don't understand. But want to get to the essence. What is the essence? It's the yield. Okay, let's make one button click, bam. You know, so that's our job. So we're not only the road, we're also the plane, the trains. So to answer your question, this is why we need advertising. Different airplanes need to advertise themselves and compete. You know? So we're not state-owned. We're private companies. Yeah,
so to be ready for when they want to come in, press that one button, we need the brand recognition.
So that's our mission. This is simple.
But you know, you raised the issue of user experience, that one button. And you mentioned this, Lennox, before, the user experience, right? I mean, if you guys have to rate the crypto industry today, right? Like, how good are we doing on user experience? Because we always talk about the next billion users, right? But you give the example of the granny, like my own mother, for the last couple of years, doesn't understand what I do as a living. And for sure, she's not going to be able to trade any kind of cryptocurrencies. I'm sure you have great user experience, but I mean, how do you guys think we are doing as an industry, and frankly, as centralized players, to provide this user experience to the retail public?
Yeah, I think in 5 years' time, we don't have a clear cut between central exchanges and decentralized exchanges.
Yeah.
Central exchanges are going to evolve. And also, we don't even have a clear-cut definition or clear-cut line between central exchanges and regulated crypto platform or brokers. So all three business models, they're different in different status. The product service will be different, but at the same time, probably can be unified in one app. So we don't see, there's a hardware element that you're using going forward. Might be, for example, if you're buying Bitcoin with Singapore dollars, you're actually trading with a Singapore regular entity under MAS. But at the same time, when you're doing Ethereum staking within the same apps, you're actually using a decentralized service within the same app.
Yeah.
Obviously, compliance, right? So we won't see a clear confinement between all these all these new channels. And that's why user experience is very important, because we want to make the Web2 experience look like Web2. And there's a lot of technology involved. MPC wallet, account abstractions, cross bridges, gasless transaction within all different changes. That's all fundamental technical challenges that we need to solve.
Interesting. I just want to bring it to you. I mean, where do you think you're on the user experience side? Also, then you mentioned before on the media side, you guys are investing in content and in advertising and stuff. But what's your view of the importance of that, especially when it comes to user experience, user interaction, user interfaces?
Maybe more on the user interaction rather than user experience. But one thing I want to highlight is that even if we are investing or buying some media companies, the journalism independence still stays. So the business side of the company and the journalism side don't interfere with each other. So we want to make sure they are still operating normally. But in terms of the user experience rating, I'll rate our industry for 6.5. 6.5
on user
out
experience?
Of 10. Yeah. So, you know, more than 60%, but the 3.5, I would say, we need to work harder on things like, you know, customer service. When the customer service, for example, we can reach the level of many traditional Web2 startups or bigger firms like Amazon. So the other day, I want to return something, and actually, I bought an Amazon, and then it expired for it overdue the 3-month return period. I just called them, I explained that I've been traveling around the world for conferences like this, that I wasn't in where I live, so can I still return it? And they called me back, they just needed, everything. So that's a great experience that I had with them. I wonder if one day, in terms of our customer service, we can provide that kind of satisfaction to all our users.
So 6.5. What grade would you give to the industry? Not the exchange, but our industry on centralized exchanges on the user experience of the industry. You gave 6.5. What's your score?
User friendly for the centralized exchange, I'm gonna get 9 because I think all of us we got a very strong customer service team that can always be there to support the users.
Ben, what grade do you give to the industry?
7.
7? What's the one thing to improve?
Well, a lot of things, but
the one major one.
Can't think of.
Lennox, what grade do you give to the industry?
8 out of 10 on central experience, 5 on Web3 experience.
Yeah.
5 out of 10 on Web3 experience.
Interesting. So guys, we really have a couple minutes left. I'm going to go, my best friend, the Bell is here. We're going to do 5 rounds of questions. So I'm going to ask 3 questions, and I want literally 1 or 2 word answers, and we get the ball rolling on that. You guys ready?
Okay.
Are you guys ready? Here we go. We're in Singapore today. Lennox, I'm starting with you. What is your favorite thing about Singapore?
A carrot car. The Larry car.
Here we go. Ben,
What's the question?
what's your favorite thing about Singapore? We're in Singapore today.
Food.
Food. Here we go. Alicia.
The view.
The view. Gracie.
It's my second hometown. I spent 6 years here in Singapore when I studied my bachelor degree.
Sam Bankman-Fried gives you a phone call, asking for your advice. What's your one piece of advice to Mr. SBF? I'm starting from you.
Don't go to the jail.
Don't go to jail.
Don't do things that will lead you to there.
Alicia, what's your one piece of advice to SBF?
Maybe go to gym.
Ben, one piece of advice to Mr. Sam.
Where's my money?
Where's my money?
Yeah, don't call me.
So, what is the one thing that is keeping you up at night about the crypto industry? What is the one thing that is scaring you or keeping you up at night about the crypto industry?
There's still a lot of phishing and scammy projects.
Hackers, North Korean hackers.
North Korean hackers, let's go. Lazarus Group. What's keeping you up at night in the industry?
Yeah, not stopping business 24 hours.
Alicia?
Crazy.
I'm sorry, Gracie.
When can Bitcoin price reach 1 million?
Here we go. After SBF now, CZ calls you and asks you for your one piece of advice on how to deal with all the FUD on Binance. What's your one piece of advice to Mr. CZ? Gracie.
Continue holds for.
Continue holding the fort.
What's CZ calling you?
You don't pick up the phone. And what's your one piece of advice to track things out?
Stay safe, stay safe.
Stay safe.
Work hard.
This is another one. Gary Gensler invites you for lunch. What is the one thing you tell him over lunch? Lennox.
What do you think about whether or not Ethereum is dead? Okay.
Where will go? I have no jurisdiction over me.
Alicia.
I'm gonna buy this.
Buy this?
Yeah, buy the lunch.
Here we go. What's the one thing you tell Gary Gensler over lunch?
When is the next election for SEC chairman?
I'm going to start with you one. What is the one sports star, movie star, or singer you would love to have as a sponsor for your exchange?
Leo Messi.
You're on the list. You have it already.
I got too many answers, so.
Who's that?
I got too many answers. Yeah, I haven't tried.
Ben, who's the one sports star, movie star you would love to have a sponsor of your exchange?
Lambo?
Lennox?
Blackpink.
Who's that?
Blackpink.
Brad Pitt. A lot of fans are there in the room. You have the chance for you're launching a new crypto exchange. You have the choice of one of these co-founders. Which one do you pick? Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, CZ, or Kim Kardashian? Lennox.
I'll pick Kim, right?
Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, obviously. I've been products into marketing.
Here we go, obviously. Ben,
He doesn't want to start the exchange. He's after something else.
who do you pick?
He's not for sure.
Elon.
Elon? What is that? You're a fan? Gracie, who do you
Elon
pick?
too, because I'm a marketing person. I think like having a strategic and technology guy is a very good,
I
match.
love it. This one is controversial. You can hold this one stable coin for the rest. You can only hold one more stable coin, that's it, no others. Which one do you choose? USDT, USDC, TUSD, BUSD, FTUSD? If you can only hold one stable coin, which one do you hold? Starting from you.
Also USDC only because they just bought me a breakfast this morning.
Here you go, paying breakfast pays off. Alicia.
USDT because they put so many efforts on support Bitcoin.
Supporting Bitcoin,
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Ben?
USDC, I will talk to Circle for the commission on that.
Lennox.
Oh, USDC, we don't need analysis anymore.
There we go. And the last question, guys, to finish off our panel of Token 49, Token 2049 this year, my traditional question. I'm going to start with you, Lennox. Lennox, you can have lunch or dinner with one person, dead or alive. Lunch or dinner with one person, dead or alive. Who do you have lunch or dinner with?
Einstein.
Einstein.
Yeah, have a nice time.
Interesting. Just to show you robot building the pallet there. Ben, you can have lunch or dinner. We have
I'll probably still Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Yeah. Lunch or dinner with one person, Alicia? Who do you have lunch or dinner with? You'll need to watch YouTube. And to finish it off, Gracie, you can have lunch or dinner with one person to finish our panel.
I'd say Marie Curie.
Marie Curie, wow.
Yeah, because I want to ask her, how do you beat those guys in this very male-dominated industry?